Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to Planet Sky FF, the world where everything revolves around £50,000. My name's Serge.
And my name is James.
You are edging ever closer to winning Sky this year. 1,400 you are now, right?
I don't know about winning it, mate. I can't win it.
You want to be top 100 now, surely, though?
No.
With that many transfers left.
So. I don't think top 100 for me is impossible.
Yeah.
I'd put my chances at about 5%.
Okay.
I think top 1,000, now a rank of 1,416, I'd put around about 80%.
I am 18,000 right now, which I am completely not bothered about my rank anymore. However, I'm still plugging along with the game. I reckon next season I'm going to have a better season. But again, take this weekend, for example. Friday, I was driving up to Liverpool. You had messaged me probably at 6 o'clock or something. Don't forget your Sky captains.
Well, because I knew you were driving. I thought, no.
The irony was just 5 minutes before that, I thought, oh yeah, because I had the talk radio on. I better make sure that Pereira still got the armband. He didn't. None of my captains for the weekend had been set, even though previously I'd set them.
Yes.
So I had to reset all of them. And this week, obviously I did get my captains, but the number of times this week, I must be at least 100 points down from administrative errors.
Possibly. I don't know about that many.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of weeks where I was supposed to make transfers that didn't, and players banged, armbands not been put on, all sorts of nonsense. And then, obviously, my hokey-cokey on and off Liverpool assets has been screwed. But I've got Aguero tonight. He's got the armband, and he's going to bang in about 16 goals.
Check your team before every single deadline is the best advice I can possibly give you for this game.
Yeah.
How was your game week? Obviously,
it's 51 at the moment.
A game to go tonight.
51 points at the moment.
And you own Aguero, captain, and Mahrez.
Correct.
What's your plans with those two players?
I will be holding both for the Leicester game on Saturday.
Yep.
And then be looking to move from Aguero to Salah or Mane. And from Riyad Mahrez potentially to Firmino.
Do you intend to captain Aguero or Mahrez on Saturday, bearing in mind it's the 5:30 game?
Well, I haven't actually looked at what my captaincy options were, but yeah.
Don't worry, I have.
To be honest, yeah, I will be.
Okay, that's a brave call, I think. I think Saturday's going to be very split on captaincy. So I'm guessing from that you didn't buy back into Liverpool in terms of an attacking.
No. I just whacked it on Van Dijk, and that was that. And on Monday evening, I was going to move from Troy Deeney to Tammy Abraham. Abraham, when I saw that he wasn't in the squad, I had a look, and I was like, nah, nothing here that really makes me want to dive in on this. So I let it go.
So who were your captaincies gone? So you didn't have a Monday captain. Pereira, yeah, I had the same. Saturday.
Followed by Virgil van Dijk.
Well done, I had Salah.
Followed by Jack Grealish.
I had the same.
And then nothing.
Okay. I went for Fred screaming Wilma at me on Monday night. My intention was to go from Salah to Tammy Abraham for Chelsea's Manchester United and Tottenham fixtures and then straight back. I then obviously, through shock, I think a lot of other people, and obviously I feel sorry for the people who had Abraham already in their squads, just felt so dead. If someone had said to me, what shall I do at that point? I think I'd have gone, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I think my instinct would have been sell. But then was it worth it to go elsewhere? I looked thoroughly in the hour up to kickoff at Chelsea assets. The only one I really considered going was Reece James, but I decided against it because it was the reason I didn't go for him in the first place. I didn't want to be wasting in that dead area. And I came to the conclusion to sell Jack Grealish for Fred at exactly the same price at 7.9. The reason I decided to do that was based on seeing Manchester United playing a back five again and how the wing backs, or more full-backs, more of a back five really when United play it. Wan-Bissaka and Brandon Williams are what I would call inside players. And what I mean by that is they are as proven by the assist for the goal, Wan-Bissaka, as in the opposite of what I'm saying, they will tend to play the safe pass inside. Mm-hmm. And Fred is the one who's mobile, who will get to it. It's not a case of necessarily Matic will be one side, Fred will be up. Fred's got great energy, actually, and he really gets about the pitch. At half-time, it looked like he was on for pass and tackle bonus.
Yeah.
He finished with a booking. The worst thing that happened for me there with the Fred ownership was that United scored. I think if Martial hadn't scored, he would have gone on certainly to hit passing tier the way the game was going. So, all right, missed it. But the reason I decided to take out Grealish was a longer look and thinking, okay, Southampton this Saturday, yes, I do want Jack Grealish. But then beyond that, obviously they've got the blank in 28, and then they don't play Leicester in match day 29 until the Monday night. So picking up 4 games here, including one captaincy, it just felt worth it. And of course, this was Fred's first blank going back to December the 7th.
It was the right decision. It didn't play off yet, but you've got 4 games,
no regrets.
3 games still to go before you go back to Grealish. So.
Watford at home, Everton away, and Manchester City at home, missing the one Jack Grealish fixture. Now, if Jack Grealish scores at the weekend, it could well be that Grealish will outscore Fred over those 4 games. But I believe I've made the right decision, and also it actually saves me a transfer. If I end up holding Fred for longer, it means I haven't sold Salah to get Salah back. It means that I've been able to be in a position where I'm keeping Salah in there. So it's actually saving me a transfer as well. So once I'd evaluated all that, I felt like it was the right decision.
Yeah.
For those who obviously avoided the Monday night game, I think you will feel a great amount of success and satisfaction that you did. Obviously, there was the Fernandes assist. Harry Maguire's very lowly owned. Even Wan-Bissaka's ownership dropped massively from the beginning of the season. A lot of his ownership will be dead teams.
Yeah.
So most people who avoided it, I think, have come out all right. The first thing we need to decide, I think, is what we're doing now with what we own, Manchester City. And is there something decision-wise, depending on that team today, that means going in? So, for example, in my case of having planned to sell Salah and now not, is there a case where I see Aguero in that team tonight and think, get him in, captain him, leave him for Saturday and then go back? Bearing in mind, psychologically, I now feel I've got an extra transfer.
I would do that if I were you.
My instinct is I probably won't.
Well, Aguero has a habit. From an FPL point of view, points per minute, he's the highest performer. Right? If I don't see Aguero on the team sheet, then the armband will move to. Can you imagine Mahrez and Aguero don't play today? That would be a kick in the nuts that I don't need.
You'll probably get them Saturday then.
Yeah,
there is a school of thought potentially that obviously they play Real Madrid early next week as well. The likelihood of a lot of these players playing both games is probably not on. So I think for those of us who are in a position like myself with just De Bruyne, if he plays tonight, you're just going to keep your fingers crossed that he is going to play again Saturday. But if he plays tonight, there's no way I would any City player that plays tonight, there's no way I would captain them on Saturday.
No.
It's a tough fixture as well.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't got that many other options. Sheffield United defensive double up could be my other captaincy option at the weekend, and that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. I may move from Troy Deeney to Danny Ings for a little while because I think Southampton got a good run of fixtures, and financially that will still give me enough money to maybe have a front line of Ings, Salah, and Mane. So a real triple up.
The
Liverpool.
issue with that is that's then a move you should have made last week.
Yeah, true. I could have made it
before the Burnley game.
Well, I didn't do it before the Burnley game because of Abraham. I wanted to keep Deeney to Abraham, so I didn't want to make that double move. But now I need to go somewhere away from Troy Deeney. Watford's fixture this week
away to Man United,
not great. So I won't be looking at that. Deeney will be moving on. I may
so
get
at the moment. You would captain who on Saturday? At
the moment, Aguero.
If he starts tonight, what if you're in a position where he starts tonight and Mahrez doesn't? Do you swap that then? Yeah. Yeah,
I think then I'd play Mahrez, but I may go with Dean Henderson because I think at home to Brighton they're likely to keep a clean sheet.
I'll be captain Danny Ings Saturday.
If I buy Danny Ings, he's the option, isn't he?
Home to Villa.
Yeah.
even the return of Tyrone Mings, I don't think would change my opinion on that. I did detail on our main podcast last night a little bit of a concern I have on Danny Ings positioning wise, and it might be that I move off Sunday, but I think it's more likely I'm going to hold through at least for that Newcastle fixture. After I think it's Newcastle after first, and I just check that. No, sorry, it's West Ham, even better than Newcastle. So we'd probably hold through at least for another 2 games of
and then Norwich after
Danny
that.
Ings. Yeah, but there might be manoeuvres following that Newcastle fixture where, assuming their Arsenal match day 31 game is off, that I'll feel that I can make gains potentially. On Sunday, I would currently be in a position where I'd be looking at Fred or Richarlison, but my intention is to move from Kevin De Bruyne to Raul Jimenez and captain him at home to Norwich.
I think I'll be sticking with Richarlison this weekend. I'm not looking at getting Raul Jimenez in.
Obviously, I could go Traore as well.
No, I'm going to go with Richarlison this weekend on Sunday.
I'm going to back Raul Jimenez. I almost like the fact that I'll be buying him after a blank. They've got a terrific run of fixtures that includes us knowing that they'll be on in match day 31, where currently on the Saturday he'd be the best captaincy. If they proceed in Europe, it potentially is going to be the only game on a Sunday. So I think this is the right time for me to go in on Raul Jimenez and keep through. I didn't like the idea of going for him for the Leicester fixture and then that whole period from the Friday gone to this coming Sunday, not having the bits in between, which for me was potentially going to include Tammy Abraham as well.
Yeah.
So I think a Sunday with a hangover after the live show is going to be the right time for me to get him in.
You're going to still be sleeping, mate. You missed the deadline.
It's also it's one of 2 early kickoffs, which is worth saying on Sunday: Wolves, Norwich, and Manchester United, Watford, both 2:00. Neither of them have been broadcast in the UK. The only game that's actually on Sky is Arsenal and Everton as the 4:30 game. But there is also the insurance there of knowing the team that he's playing, because obviously, I think a lot of people forgot. Obviously, Europa League restarts on Thursday.
Yep.
And then Monday night, I'd still be sitting there with Salah to go again. I think there's some debate at the moment following the weekend. Salah's blank. Obviously, the fact Mane came off at half time at Atletico last night. We think no injury. It was to protect him because of a very dodgy refereeing performance, from what I've heard. And Salah was withdrawn near the end again. No injury suspected. But there is some debate in terms of should we just be going Van Dijk, for example, as a regular captain at the moment rather than Salah. My take on that would be that these next 2 home games, West Ham away and then Bournemouth at home on the Saturday, smell to me... Sorry, it's Watford away, then Bournemouth at home. The 3 of those games smell more like potential hauls.
For Salah.
So I think, you can look at that. There's Van Dijk regular game. Yep, it's probably 10, 10, 10. Quite possibly in all 3 of those games if they keep clean sheets. But Salah's a captaincy I think he's likely to have a haul in one of those 3 fixtures. So I would still edge for that, particularly for the West Ham game Monday, I think.
Yeah, and that's a nice little segue, James, into some Twitter questions, because Heskibo, I wonder what his rank is now. Still flying up high.
He's still doing very well.
Who is the optimal Liverpool captain? Is it VVD or one of the forwards?
There you go.
Well, I'm with James on that. I think if you don't have a way of getting one of the attackers, preferably Salah, then VVD is never going to do you wrong, and it's fine to stick with him as captain. But in the next 3 or 4 games, you're really going to want a bit of Mo Salah.
Yeah, I think so. It's worth just looking there and just comparing ownership in the top 1,000. Van Dijk is at nearly 77%. Salah at nearly 56%, which is a little bit surprising at the moment following the Norwich fixture, and presumably nobody dived off on the Saturday, unless people were unfortunate enough and went to say Heung-min Son or Aubameyang on the Sunday. You'd have done well if you got the return. Obviously, Son's unfortunate because of the injury. But I feel like Salah, for me, in an odd way, even with that ownership, is a differential to a certain degree. I think it's a bigger gamble not to go Salah. And I think as well, if you take my position, and quite a few others will be on this, you also got the insurance of the double clean sheet with Trent, for example, if they do keep that, which for those who only go 1 with Van Dijk and captain, the second clean sheet will get close to cancelling that out. So I think for me in my position, I'll certainly be going Salah Monday night. Till I see the team and he ain't playing.
We have a question coming in from Hornet FPL. Injuries apart, he reckons that 8 of his Sky team now won't change until the end of the season, with only rotation in the KDB slot or the front 3. You talked about this last week when or was it the week before post overhaul, where your back 5 are kind of locked in and you're not pissing about with making transfers. Do you have 6, 7 locked in that you don't want to touch?
I included Adama Traore in terms of a locked in dead because of the significant Wolves period they have. Wouldn't classify any of them as dead for the whole season. Injury, suspension.
No, yeah,
this
that's
Friday,
always the caveat.
This Friday is due to be the fixture announcement as well for the April fixtures. Now, Manchester City and Liverpool in that first set is extremely likely, I would have thought, to be 5:30 p.m. on a Saturday. But for example, were it to be later, and obviously Liverpool perhaps wouldn't play in match day 31 if they beat Chelsea in the FA Cup, then there's a case then to be moving off the Liverpool guys. Similarly for me with, say, Pereira Siunku as well. But they're certainly dead for me up until that 31 period. Let's say match day 30, if you will.
We've got at the Blue City and also Adam Robinson FPO _Bear. There's a few Blue City's questions: what to do with Tammy Abraham, and Adam's kind of asking, what do you do what do you do if Abraham and Martinelli in the team and 0.7 in the bank hold or move away to somebody else? I'm not a fan of. I own Martinelli. I was disappointed that he was benched at the weekend, but I think if all 3 of Lacazette, Pepe and Aubameyang are fit, I do think that that's the front 3 that Arteta will play more often than not.
Pepe's returns at the weekend puts greater concern on that Martinelli ownership.
100%.
And also, because it is the later game on Sunday, you're again missing the news. The following week, they blank. I very much could have ended up in a position where I started with both of those 2 players, so I feel the sympathy there. But it's probably move on wise. But the issue then is the value, because to move off both of them when they're both at a very low price range is really difficult. One of the decisions I really ultimately came to not start with, particularly Martinelli, because Abraham to Ings, for example, is not too bad. But getting off Martinelli, to then fund, say, Abraham to Ings, you're probably having to look at like Martinelli to Cantwell, for example. When Cantwell picked up a 4-pointer against Liverpool, he would sit there fine, but really challenging.
Yeah.
Difficult one. My instinct would be to move off.
Both of them, yeah.
But then, say, with Abraham, following the Tottenham fixture, it's Bournemouth away as well. And that might even be a Saturday one where you think, I might want a captain in that even.
Paul Ferreira Coleman. Can you give me 3 reasons for playing Sky as well as FPL? He's currently playing FPL draft and is in the Who Got This Zombie League, but is looking to drop draft. But then adds a caveat: I remember why I don't play now. I don't want to give so many personal details to Sky, like my age, address and bank details. How much marketing do you get from them? Nothing really. Other than them trying to obviously get you to place bets through Sky Bet. It's not that bad.
I haven't seen anything.
Well, when you set your captain, sometimes it will come up and say the probability of these guys scoring if you place £10 will
No, but I think that's referring more to like spam email.
Nothing.
No, nothing. I've not actually.
I'm not
sure if gambling companies can still do that sort of thing unless you've submitted into want offers, etc.
Yeah,
I don't think they can just, because of this, the awareness of gambling and its problems these days. I don't think they can just do that anymore. No. You have to agree into, you want to be updated on offers, etc. I can't remember having an email from at all.
No. Leon at LeonH94. Looking forward to your Sky Insights over a beer on Saturday, chaps. We don't drink, so so that's not going to happen. But we'll do it over a Coca-Cola or Pepsi Cola.
Yeah, sure. Don't come too lately. I might be bladdered, mate.
Lee Williams, need to replace Son with either Ings or Jimenez. Who do you think is the better long-term option?
Oh, longer term, Jimenez. More captaincy opportunities as well. They could have a consistent run of
Sundays.
Yeah, you're looking at that fixture that's already set for a Sunday, the West Ham away game potentially. So, definitely Raul Jimenez for me. You're potentially captaining Jimenez in match day 30 and match day 31. And if you go now, you'll probably captain him this Sunday as well. You could even argue Tottenham away also being a Sunday. I think the other fixture is Everton Manchester United on that Sunday. So Jimenez is fine. And then there's a Brighton home fixture as well. So, I mean, conceivably, you could captain Raul Jimenez in the next 5 games.
Yep.
That's one for me. So if I get him in for Norwich, I probably would captain him against Tottenham on the Sunday fixture of March the 1st. Not the 7th of Brighton, because I think that's when Liverpool play Bournemouth, isn't it?
So Jimenez is the answer.
Yeah.
For
me, strongly, far more captaincy possibilities. I don't believe I'd be captaining Danny Ings beyond this Saturday. And I don't want to too much either, if I'm honest. So, yeah, Jimenez. I'm more thinking of maybe moving away from Ings following this weekend.
Joe Finley Bader. Joe, how are you? He's inside the top 500. Would you play it safe and get Salah or risk it for a biscuit with Mane?
I'd be strongly tempted to risk it for the biscuit. It depends what your target is. Right, are you happy with that?
Or do you want to win the whole bloody
is that
thing?
The goal? Can you still win the whole bloody thing? Risk it for a biscuit. But I do feel these immediate fixtures are probably more beneficial to Salah. It's going to be really interesting. If the Palace game in match day 31 does end up being off, it's going to be really interesting what people do with the Liverpool assets following that what's their game week 30 fixture? They play Everton on the Monday night. There's even an argument to come straight off following Bournemouth on the Saturday 29. We still think it's possible City could have a fixture that midweek.
Yep.
Sunday, you're looking at a real sort of City 3 or 4-1 potentially on Liverpool possibly.
Yep. We have Benny Blanco. After tomorrow's City game, I'll end up with a front three of Salah, Ings and Jimenez. Do you think Pereira is a good enough captaincy option for upcoming favourable run of fixtures? He's worried about Vardy going nuts again. But Pereira he's a decent player in Sky Fantasy Football. So I've got Pereira, no Vardy, and I'm happy to stick with Pereira, no Vardy, and captain him without Jamie Vardy.
I think the scary one on Vardy is particularly that Norwich Villa fixtures being the only games of the day. I think a lot of people will jump off. Timing wise, I'm just not sure if it feels right. I feel like I would need an injury I'm going to have the same front three basically, Salah, Ings, Jimenez. If the money works out, I could potentially look at an Ings to Vardy, but I think it's more likely that I wouldn't bother. Interestingly, with Pereira, corresponding fixtures which were in December, Villa and Norwich, he picked up 6 and 4 points respectively. One included a man of the match, tier 1 tackles in both. Is that enough on single game days? If you said now, right, Pereira get me 20 points over those 2 single game days, I think I'd probably be quite happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, Vardy blanks, he gets nothing, right?
The other thing with the Vardy issue is of going next Friday night is the distance of the Leicester fixture on that Friday to then the following Monday, 10 days.
Yeah.
And I feel like you'd be compelled, if you go for Vardy for the Norwich game, you're going to feel compelled. You could even say you've already got Salah. You can think, I'll go Vardy to Mane in the middle, and suddenly it's another 2 transfers. So I think for the Norwich game, I don't see me going for Vardy, and I'll be going Pereira.
And the last question, we've rattled through them, is Dan Cox, former champion of Sky Fantasy Football. Fred, what are your thoughts? Well, there's no one here called Fred.
Wilma.
What are your thoughts on Monday's events, and is he worth holding?
Well, yeah, I'm going to hold through now till certainly I think the period of when they play Manchester City on March the 8th. Grealish then plays at Leicester the following night. And depending on where we sit in blanks doubles, I may just reverse that transfer. If Newcastle beat West Brom in the Cup and Villa's fixture at Newcastle in match day 31 is off, I see me skipping Grealish and not going back until after the March internationals. And he's very highly owned at the moment, Jack Grealish. I think his ownership's around about 55% or so.
And then that's
52%.
in the top 1,000.
So what I'd potentially be missing on Grealish, following obviously Southampton this Saturday. Then it's a massive break to the Leicester fixture on the Monday, 2 weeks later, March 9th. I'd potentially be missing Leicester away, Chelsea at home. That's it between now and the international break. And on the other side, following, if the Newcastle game is postponed, you're looking at Wolves, Liverpool, Manchester United, or that could be off as well again.
Right.
Because of the FA Cup. So, yeah, really interesting. It's one I'm going to follow closely, what might or might not happen with Jack Grealish's ownership over the next month or so. He's a brilliant, brilliant asset for this game, and I'm not suggesting anybody should sell. But I think those who are on, and there's obviously more than half the game are at the moment, have a decision to make following that Southampton fixture on Saturday.
For sure. Fair few Twitter questions there and a little rundown. And I'm sure, no doubt, I'll give it a little mention in the final plan and if I'm planning any transfers. But at the moment, it looks like Danny Ings is going to be coming in. And obviously, the Liverpool assets once the Manchester City game is out of the way. What do we still have coming at people the rest of this week, James?
We have Clash of the Correspondents tomorrow, focusing on Leicester and Manchester City with Foxy FPL and FPL Pringle. For those who listen to Monday's People's Poll, starring Mr. Sujan Shah, on Manchester City's European ban, Johnny FPL Pringle very much gets the right of reply in terms of his opinion on where City fans feel about this at the moment. I think some of what he says, having pre-recorded this last night, will surprise. And Friday we'll be back with final plan. I'll be doing a live stream probably earlier than normal on YouTube in the afternoon, and there may even be another stream later in the day which Suj might be a part of.
Correct, Mundo.
Saturday's just
as
some
we make our way up
live
to
show or something.
The live show, yeah.
Do come along, Sky players. We'd love to meet you.
Indeed. Thanks for tuning in to Planet Sky FF. Do share the podcast with any of your Sky Fantasy Football playing friends and family or competitors in your mini leagues or whatever you may have going. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man. Ciao. Good luck, everyone.
Cool. Are you still in the cup, by the way?
Yes, nice. I am.
There
actually,
we go.
Till Aguero goes mad tonight.
Knockout cup.
Did you already turn that off?
No, still rolling.
Messi, ancora Messi,